Supercurve honing fans. Type 2 diabetes rescued by keto fans and carnivore fans. Bill here. Gonna do somewhat of a unique shave. It's a unique shave. Something I have not done before. But I figured I'd try it. Tonight, it's evening. It's March the 19th. I need a shave, but I really did not feel like making a video. But I wanted to test this stuff, and I figured, well, this would be a good time to do it. So I'm going to use some soap, which I opened up and look at, and it's like, okay, Tobs of Old Bond Street. Okay, and I looked at it. I hadn't used this much. It's like, you see how, it must have evaporated from, I don't know if I didn't have the lid on tight. I just haven't not used it in a while. I'm assuming that the soap is good, and I'm gonna use my Sterling, the smaller Badger brush, and I'm just gonna pretend like it was a hard soap. So there's the difference between a full tub of cream and a soap that you actually let dry out. So I'm not sure how it's going to work. I did bring a bowl in to see if I couldn't fluff the suds up. I usually make my lather ahead of time to save the time. Anyhow, what I'm going to do is I'm going to test two different gold dollars. I found one, and those of you that have been following me know about this story about this box of gold dollars at all. Really weirdo shapes and very, very difficult to own. But I bought them because I found out with a special order, with a certain quantity, you could get at a reasonable price these blue scales that I really like. So I got those. Man, this is a strong peppermint smell. Maybe it's because it's no longer the cream, it's actually like a concentrated. But it does smell good. I do like it. I use this, I guess partly because I saw Johan Shaving Butcher on YouTube. He was using Tobs for something, and I figured I gotta get mine out. I haven't used it in a while. Now we're getting it like it's like a little sloppy. So I did some unique, and I might call this uninhibited honing, because I did some uninhibited honing. Usually I like to do my convex honing and that kind of stuff, but I found that, like, no matter what I did, and I had bought some stuff to work on these things, and I worked on some flat, most of them are probably going to go in the trash, or I'm not sure what. But I did find one that the geometry was not too terrible bad. And let's see, which one is that? That will be this one. The geometry is not too terrible bad in terms of the waviness and that kind of stuff. So I ended up, and I was working on I bought a set of Norton stones, progression, and I was working, and I wish I'd thought about bringing in another razor, because one of the things on both of these I wanted to do was, these come in and the edge has a smile to them, right? A smile to them. The Hone Guide is not a smile. The Hone Guide is straight. So when there's a more of an extreme smile on there, it doesn't matter what type of stone. You really have to move the razor around a lot. So anyhow, I did this, and ultimately, I worked it down, and there's still a little bit of a smile in there. You can kind of see that, okay? But if you ever find a video from anybody or read where anybody says, oh, don't use convex hones, they put a frown on your razor. Do you have any idea how much honing you have to do to remove a smile? And it's a lot. Now, granted, these are not thin grind pieces. They're probably half hollow, but I wanted to do it flat, and I wanted to try that. So just to show that I'm uninhibited in my honing. Anyhow, I ultimately finished this the way I normally do, with 2 different curves. So it does have a hollow bevel, and this did not do the my packing peanut test quite as well as I would like it, and I'm feeling that in the shave. It is cutting. I'm not having to I'm not struggling with it as I'm not struggling with it, but it would not be my preference for a shave. So this other one is a really, really unique thing, okay? And I decided I'd gotten some stones, and I use an Edge Pro Apex for sharpening my knives, which is a rod guide system. And I'll put a picture up where I show where I put one of these on, and this is the other one, okay? And this one was absolutely honed uninhibitedly, okay? And you can see that I made that one straight, and I took that, and I'll tell you how I did that in a little bit, okay? And another thing I had to do was I had to work out the little points that are in there, okay? Because I think this other one has those in there. Here's one. You hit that, and it's wide here, okay? And you're coming across the hone, and you're honing, and you get a little bump from that, which is why people, when they use, a lot of times when people hone these, okay, they'll go on their hone at an angle like this. That way, let's see. Yes, it would be an angle like this. That way you're not getting onto that high spot. So, but I wanted to be able to take and move it across without having the bump. This one, I wasn't able to do that, but I knew that was a problem on this. Okay, so I did 2 things, okay? And I also have a Work Sharp belt grinder. My brother had got me one of these for Christmas, and I used it to sharpen knives, and that convexes the edge. Not convexes the stone, convexes the edge. Okay, and I thought, because I have taken these things and I have shaved with these right out of the package, right out of the box, and I've stropped them and I've shaved with them, and you can shave with them. They're a bit rough. And I thought, okay, I know that they're not sitting there on a stone and finishes these, because you could tell, and you could look, and you could see that there's a convexity to the bevel, and you can see it's hard to get to the point, and you could tell that they probably had the spine lifted way up, and they were probably doing that on a belt, and that's how they can put that smile in there. Well, I took that smile out. I took that thing, and I grabbed it. Now, and you talk about how much grinding you have to do. You have to pretty aggressively grind, and I'm using a belt, okay, to take the smile out of there. So I did that, and Then I laid this thing on the Edge Pro, okay, where the Edge Pro has a place where you would lay this, and it has the stone. And I'll see if I can get a couple of pictures of this in the grinder and that kind of stuff. And you can set the angle. So I use an angle cube so I can measure the angle of where this is resting, and I measure the angle of the abrasive. And then what I did is I actually targeted a 19-degree bevel, and you can see, I think you can see, I had to take off a pretty good bit of steel. You almost see it's rounded a little bit because I actually did have this on the belt, but I took a good bit of steel off on here with an abrasive, a diamond plate on the Edge Pro Apex. And then I went on the grinder and I ground these things out. And I actually decided, you know what, I would just want to see what I can do. Can I sharpen this, and what can happen on a belt sander? Now I do have coarse grits, and I do have up to a 1200 grit belt, and I do have strops. They're not leather strops, they are cloth strops, but you do use chromium oxide and iron oxide to load those strops with. And then ultimately let me just see if it'll shave at all. Okay, and this does pass the packing peanut test, okay? Maybe a little bit better than that one. And this one is shaving better than the ones that I honed on the stones. Now, so there was a step in there that I had to take, because as you go through a progression and I took this thing and on the belt and I laid it totally spine and edge onto the belt. So the belt's going, away from the edge. I didn't go into the edge. That's not the best thing to do on a belt sander. But what I did use a couple of stones, okay? But I used the real curvy ones because the bevel itself is curved like this, okay? And what I did was I took the real curvy ones and I cut the back bevel, and I back beveled out of here, which then gave me that final last clearance on those, that ultra fine belt and the pasted strops. Now that's not it shaves. That is not what I would call a really great shave. And looking at that under my scope, it looks, I usually like to just see a smooth straight line to the resolution of the optics that I have. And I could see that was a little bit toothier but it was not rough and chipped. It was just like a little toothy, I'm going to call it. And it shaves that way. But I'm guessing if you were in a time frame where we didn't have shaving as a hobby, we did it to look presentable, and you maybe shave once a week or went to the barber and shaved all, that would be a way to get a razor sharp. Okay. And this is going back to the one that I did on the stones. And I'm going to say that this one feels smoother, but maybe not quite as sharp as that other one. Okay, so uninhibited honing. I threw everything that I had at that. I used the real curvy soft arc to get way up and hollow out some of the convexity in the bevel to try and hollow that out so I could get a cleaner swipe with the belt going against the edge. But with that type of stuff, you're not. Now I stropped this a lot on paddle strops, and so I'm going to consider this a stunt shave. So there's been like a number of guys that I watch, you know who you are, that have done hatchets, the axes. I believe Sean, I think it's Sean is his name, did a shave with his pocket knife. So while the stunt shaves are going around, I figured, okay, I'll do one of these. Now I think I'll have to see what I'm going to do with this, but now that I've kind of got the shape and I've got my angles where I want them, and this is the nice thing about the Edge Pro Apex, is that I can set an angle and I can work both sides of that, and I can literally actually grind in the angle from the bevel to the point. I can literally grind, and I will remove both. But I'm kind of liking how straight that is, and I'll have to see how it does now that I've got some cutaway in here in the clearance. And this was one of the worser ones. This is like one of these ones that's like real. I don't know if I need a dark backing on here. There, it doesn't seem to look too bad, but this was one of the worser ones in terms of the geometry of the thing. For closeness so far, the sharper one is giving me a closer, although comfort. Now, Cobb's, I don't know if that's there's an ingredient list on there. Stearic acid, mystic acid, potassium hydroxide, coconut fatty acid. So this is not a tallow-based soap. I didn't think it was a tallow soap. It's good soap. I personally think that tallow gives you that little extra bit of slickness. I know people who won't use the things because not necessarily for the animal protective thing, but they just don't like the smell of them. That animal fats can have a projection of an odor. So I uninhibitedly honed that razor. You know, it brings me back to a thought that I had when I was a young man in sales, selling a product. I was selling printing ink too. I've been in the printing business. I was a printer. I am a printer again. But I was selling ink to a variety of different types of industries within printing. And I was having a conversation with a customer who was a couple years my senior, not a lot my senior. The business was actually, his mom actually started that printing business and was the owner. And he was managing it. And basically taking care of the operations. And he said something interesting that I really had never forgotten. We were talking about problem solving and different things in our industry. And he said something that we were talking about procedures we use to try and find when there's a technical type problem. And ultimately I became a technician in the ink business years later though. But we were talking, he says one of the first things I learned, he says, when I have a problem, I have a problem, and I don't swear by anything. And while I can make that application to razors and sharpening razors, okay, you have a razor, there's a problem. Obviously, these are full of problems, okay, but it's up to you to figure out what you need to do to fix that and figure out some sort of a way to address the issue. Interesting that razor, which is the smoother one under the glass, on the third pass seemed to glide more. And I'm guessing that the little roughness, toothiness has a tendency to want to dig in. So my approach to honing, and that's, I guess, suppose one of the things that led me to the use of a super curve, a convex hone, a shaped hone, or whatever. When I could get into some of the drama that's still going on with some of that kind of stuff. But I'm going to say one thing. There was the one forum that I started off on, shave forum that I started off on, was the Shave Den, and ultimately they say that I didn't get thrown off because of how I honed. It was the guys, and when I saw that they took down a thread, I'm going to do a foot pass here, and I'm going to do a cleanup with my feather. I mean, it's close enough. I just want to chasing the baby. Anyhow, so Gent, who became moderator and still moderator over there, he goes by the screen name on all the forums as Plan of Man, I'd written, he likes to write a lot of stuff. He's very detailed in his writing. And I went after him. I mean, I really blasted him when he was going to address the topic of convex hones. Because I thought, wait a minute, you took down my thread, there was this thread that was there, so, and you take this down and then you're going to start a new one. And it started off sounding like it was going to correct, and I had my suspicions that there were people who did not want that thread to stay on that forum, and maybe had something to do with my ejection there. I've been ejected from 2 forums. No surprise that the Badger and Blade got me by the Admiral. Got all these badges. Okay, so neither of those razors glide like that. And for me, that's what I want. That's what I want. I want to take my straight razor and I want to have it glide. Lowest angle, whitest touch. Anyhow, moderator Ryan, after I made a YouTube thing and I left my YouTube thing up, and in a way, I kind of feel bad about that. But I left it up because I did say what I said, and I had a reason for saying that. That did prompt him to live up to his true self, which is who he is, in his writings, in trying to be accurate and have a good understanding, a best understanding of whatever type of shaving, part of shaving, and accurately present a thing. And he's writing a book, and when he does finish this book, I am going to buy this book, because everything I'd ever seen him written, except for this, where he was going to do the convex tones, was well written and well balanced. Okay, well, he took the whole thing down because I just raised the shit fit. He started over. And he went out, he bought plates, had plates made, bought stones, he shaped the stones. Went after a project where he would get a first-hand knowledge, and out of numerous people who have initially thought that what I do is some sort of a gimmick or something. Just something somebody's doing to make money. He actually did the work, and he went through it, and he became a proponent of the use of a convex tone, or what I call super curve hunting, where you're using two curves. And he finished up being fair and balanced, which is true to himself. And Ryan, if you do catch this, accept my apologies for my crassness in slamming you in my earlier videos. I respect the work that you had done. And the time, the effort, the money you put in, kudos to you for that. So I did this shave, and neither of those go dollars really gave a result on the packing peanut test that I like, or neither of them really look the way I like them in the microscope, but they do shave. They don't shave as well as that shavette. I know a lot of people don't like those things. I do. It becomes the measure of performance of a shave tool for me. So let's see, I got a little bit of witch hazel here. Maybe I'll put a little bit of witch hazel on. Sterling Orange Chill has menthol on it. Sterling makes the best citrus scents. So, I know some new guy, there was some, I guess because of the recent brouhaha, some guy popped in on there and, you know, and there's only two people willing to talk about it, okay? One guy says, oh, it's all a gimmick and it's all about making money, and then Ryan, who went in to share his experience. Now, obviously, I think a little later, JPO dropped in on that guy. The aftershave splash is Sterling lime with menthol. So it was interesting. I was going to talk about that a little bit, but it's like, you know, this is going to go on forever. Okay, be uninhibited in your honing. Okay, you can get as good, and neither of these razors are where I would like them. Both of them shave. Neither of them shave as good as a Feather Artist Club with a professional super blade in there. Okay, there's some work. I don't know that Gold Dollar. I've had some Gold Dollars that shaved very, very well. I bought them while I was hoping to make a 7-day set. I don't know if there's 7 good ones in there that I would like. Okay, I've gotten a couple of those to shave quite well, but none of them look very terribly presentable. They all have the marks. This one is not quite so bad, but they all have the marks of the grinding away, and I'm not going to polish them. I'm just not, you know, I'm not a razor maker, razor finisher. You know, I don't care. I shave with these things. So this is a little bit longer than it has been. This bill, I hope everybody has a great balance of the week. I just wanted to get a shave in, and I wanted to test those things. They'll ultimately be going back on the bench for me to work with on something and to learn more about being uninhibited in the method I use. And the problem, to tie back in, when you have a problem, the problem is for you to resolve is how are you going to get an abrasive to go across on the plane it's supposed to be on from both sides and come up, and how are you going to get that abrasive up to the very edge, and how are you going to work that? Okay, that's the art of it. That's the fun of it. Whether you do it with lapping films, whether you do it with stones, whether you do it with an Edge Pro Apex, whether you do it with a belt grinder, I really don't care how you do it. What I care about is that you're learning something and that you're having fun in what you're doing. And I watch people, and I enjoy sitting there listening to them talk about what they're doing. Okay, because it interests me that somebody would have an inquisitive nature similar to what I have to try and figure things out, because that's all it is. Because if it was not about figuring things out, this is all I'd use. That or the Essence razor. So, all right, friends, take care. This is Bill, out.